Shalom, family. All right, we're just going to give people some time to come in before getting started. I hope you're all doing well. All right, just going to play a little music until people come in. All right. All right, y'all. I hope everybody is doing well. So, America is in a lot of trouble, y'all. You know, I did a little more research on the shortages. Wait until you see how long the list is. Things are not good. They're already saying that December, January, and February is going to be worse than November. And if you remember, we had 4 million new cases in the month of November alone. And I think over the last 24 hours, over 3,100 people died. So everything is going through the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have 161 people. So let me go ahead and share my screen and then we can get started. What? Follow these steps. Okay. Okay. What do I have to do here? Oh, okay. Hold on. I got to add it. I guess they updated this thing. I have to do an extra step here. All right. Let me see if I can get this done. All right. So it says I have to go to morning. Here we go. Screen recording. Check off Chrome. All right, I'm back, y'all. Hopefully it will work this time. Okay. All right, yeah. All right. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1. Ooh. RY, a fire advisory. Damn. It just seems like it's so many things happening all at once. It's like, what the hell? All right, y'all. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right. I'm going to put this on full screen, so I won't be able to see what you're saying until we're done. All right. Okay. Now, America is going through a lot of shortages right now. It's not just supplies in grocery stores. It goes way deeper, and you'll see as we move along. All right. So let's start with the first shortage that is going on in America. So I'll just stop and talk in between. All right. A Christmas tree shortage, y'all. There is a Christmas tree shortage in America, and the demand is greater than the amount of trees that are available in the country. Because of COVID, they were not able to get all the trees they needed in the ground for this season. So people may be going, people that still celebrate these holidays may be going through the Christmas season this year without a tree, not unless they have an artificial one that they can put up. Real trees are they're in high demand, but a big shortage all over the place this year. So, boy, I tell you, it's like the Most High has put a damper on their holiday season, right? So the Christmas tree shortage. Okay, appliances. And I did a video on this. Some of you might remember. The appliances are still short. So if you have a refrigerator, a freezer, a stove that break down, you may be waiting several months before you can replace it. So appliance shortage, that has not gone anywhere. In fact, I believe I did the video on this probably back in the summer, but I wasn't sure whether it was still going on now. But apparently, y'all, it is still going on. It's still not enough appliances being shipped into the country to meet the demand. Okay. PPE, right? You would think by now there would be enough masks and gloves and shields for the face and everything that these doctors and nurses would need by now, right? It's not. It's not. The nursing unions, many of the doctors are all complaining they still don't have enough gowns, masks, gloves. It is short in hospitals everywhere because now they're dealing with a combination of the flu and COVID at the same time. So they are running out of these supplies fast. And the number of people being hospitalized in the country is already at full capacity. So PPE, and you would think, come on, this was a problem from the beginning. You would think by the end of the year, from March to now, they would have been able to replenish the supplies that they needed by now. But no, they let this next big surge happen and still struggling to get gowns. And see, this is part of the reason why a lot of doctors and nurses are leaving now. They feel like the hospitals, they don't care about them. They just want them to work in conditions that are not safe, and they don't even have the right equipment to even protect themselves. All right, scammers. Now, the first time around, there were a lot of scammers, and they were out there price gouging supplies. It was a lot of fake supplies out there. Well, that's all happening again. So definitely be careful if you have to buy any of these supplies for yourself and your family. Just make sure it's legit and you're not buying from somebody that's scamming. And a lot of these scammers are demanding cash payments like Cash App and PayPal and stuff like that. And, or Western Union or MoneyGram. So just be careful out there. So they're going to take advantage of the situation right now, and they know the PPE is low everywhere. Okay, I already went over this, but I still added it in because it is part of a shortage. COVID test. The country is now running low on testing supplies. So right now, over half of the country don't have enough COVID tests to even serve the public. I don't think a lot of people care for this test anyway. Like I said, they jam that garbage up your nose. A lot of people don't like that. Just looking at the test alone turns many people off. And on top of that, it's not accurate. We also know that. Okay. Bed shortages in the hospital. I was watching a video today, and the hospitals are putting people in the hallway because there's not enough room for people to even be in a room. So you will look at some pictures and they're all lined up in the hallway, which, usually that's against the hospital code, HIPAA. You can't have people just stacked on top of each other, but right now they have no choice. if they intend on caring for these people. This is why, in my opinion, they need to have a separate facility just for COVID patients. I don't think they should be mixed up in the hospitals at all, because you have a lot of people in there and they don't have COVID. You may have some heart patients. Some patients are in there from just injury, could have been in a car accident. You may have pregnant women giving birth, and I just don't think they should be mixed in there with COVID patients at all. They should have been set up some type of makeshift building. I mean, with all these empty warehouses and buildings all over America, they could not have done something. That just seems a bit ridiculous to me. Okay. Massive staffing shortages in America. And you know what? I thought it was mainly doctors and nurses. It's everybody. It's x-ray technicians and people that are doing all types of other jobs. Because the nurses are short, they have people that are they're in the medical field, but they're not a nurse. And many of them are helping patients in different rooms. That they have gotten that desperate from having such a short staff in many of these hospitals. And ladies and gentlemen, I was reading some of the articles and the nurses' accounts out here. Many of these nurses have been working double shifts since March. They're not getting very much time off. They're exhausted. I was even talking to some of the people in my family that work in hospitals, and they were telling me what it was like. And just a little warning here. Please don't come on my channel talking about the hospitals are empty. I have some people doing that, and I block them. And I will block you if you come here with that. Number one, that's not true. I got people in my own family that work in hospitals, and they said those hospitals are packed. Number two, I got subscribers that are nurses and doctors and doing all kinds of specialty type positions in hospitals. And they're telling me the same thing my relatives are telling me. So please stop all of this nonsense. You mean to tell me this is the flu season and COVID, but the hospitals are empty? I have never seen a hospital empty during the flu season. So just because you see a hospital empty in one state, that don't mean that's going on nationwide, or a few hospitals in certain communities that don't have that. That doesn't mean that is how it looks nationwide. I've seen what the nurses that are subscribed to me have written, and they are overwhelmed because they are telling me they are overwhelmed with all of these patients. So don't come here with that. If I see it, I'm going to block you immediately. Okay, grocery shortages. Grocery stores are already reporting essential items like cleaning supplies, toilet paper, paper towel, that stuff. They're running out real fast. They are. They have some in stock. They said the only way they can get by is limiting how much a person can buy. If they put limitations on how many packs of toilet paper or cleaning supplies you can get, then they will have enough for everybody. But if you just go in there and they're just letting you grab whatever they want off the shelf, then there's going to be shortages. In fact, Walmart, and y'all can look this up, Walmart is already reporting shortages. And many of these stores that are short, they said it may be well into 2021 before they get these shelves restocked. So you definitely, if you can find a way to get the supplies you need online, then get it online. Now, I had Several people tell me they can't even find a can of Lysol. And I know that's true. There's many locations around this country since the beginning of this year when COVID was just, all over mainstream. The Lysol sold out and people have not seen it since. Or they're in an area where you're just starting to see some Lysol. But it's been a long time since people even seen the wipes, the Clorox wipes, the Lysol wipes. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is getting even harder to come by because it's being wiped out once again from all the hoarding and panic shopping that's going on across the country. People are seeing how the surges are just going through the roof and they are restocking. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, pilot shortage. I didn't think I would see this. Pilots, pilots that fly the airplane. Even over the Thanksgiving weekend, Delta had a pilot shortage. So, and why is this happening? Because employees are leaving, ladies and gentlemen. They don't feel safe on the plane. So many flight attendants, pilots, and people that work on those planes are taking buyouts or they're going on long leaves of absence. So they don't have to be exposed to COVID. And so Delta is one, and there are other airlines that are saying, they are now feeling the effects of shortages because of the pandemic that's going on. People, I guess they just don't want to be in those planes. It's very hard to social distance in the plane, especially if it's packed. That's impossible. You really won't be able to do it. And I guess these employees have grown tired of risking their health trying to fly around, and they're walking away from these jobs. Okay, bikes. Bikes are in shortage. Let me get rid of this thing here. Bikes are in shortage, ladies and gentlemen. So if you were planning on buying a bike for yourself or for your children or a grandchild, you may have a difficult time finding a bike. Bike shortages will likely last until next year, possibly into 2022. See, all of this stuff is not coming in like it used to because of the coronavirus. I mean, it's just impacting so many things. When I saw this, I had to do a double take. I was like, bikes? Or bike shortage? Wow. Ammunition. Ooh, man. There is an ammunition shortage in America. Gun shop owners are saying they don't have enough ammunition. Ammunition shortage makes holiday gift giving difficult. So there's an ammunition shortage in America. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. And people have been buying numbers in record numbers, especially in the Black community. A lot of Black people have been running out there and, legally getting guns. So, if you're able to grab up that ammunition, grab it up because it's getting very scarce in America. Lumber. There is a lumber shortage nationwide in America. So if you need lumber because you're doing a project at home, or you're trying to do a wooden fence, you may have a difficult time doing that. Demand for new fences meet a nationwide lumber shortage. Yeah, so much for those home improvements, right? So that's another shortage going on in America. Blood. Now, blood donations were always kind of short in America, but it's gotten worse since we are in coronavirus now. So, the blood shortage, we have heard, and I'm sure many of you have heard over the years, but now it's ramping up and getting even worse in the country. So, different blood centers around the country are reporting shortages. And they said it's critical. And it is, because somebody out there is always going to need some blood for one reason or another. Housing. Housing. So, right now, housing prices, depending on where you live, in some locations it's going down, but in many locations, housing is increasing in price. So, they are saying in 2021, they are anticipating a major housing shortage in the country. And we're not that far away from 2021. Teachers, especially substitute teachers. A lot of teachers are retiring and they're leaving the profession altogether, and they need substitute teachers, and there are not enough. Many substitute teachers don't even want to go in the classroom at all, but they're going to need substitute teachers, ladies and gentlemen, because the regular teachers are, many of them are retiring, or they're stepping down from their position due to coronavirus. There were a lot that had to do virtual teaching, and some decided they didn't even want to do virtual teaching and they just left altogether. So that's another big problem in the country. I know it is in my state because I saw some of the articles here locally. So substitute teaching, another shortage, and really teachers overall. Police departments. Now, police departments already had a shortage prior to COVID, but they said now it's even worse. It's worse now during the time of coronavirus, and they're not even getting enough applicants anymore. You know, at one time they were getting a decent amount of applicants, but that has stalled a lot around the country. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not disappointed about less police. I think that's exactly what we need. So, police departments report staffing shortage, fewer police officer applicants. And you can see how COVID is having a domino effect on everything. All right, y'all, that's it. Yes. So, everybody, just know, it may be getting worse next year, because they're talking about putting the vaccine out, but healthcare workers and nursing home patients will get it first. And I went back and I looked at those side effects. No defense, But I really truly believe some of those elderly people are not going to survive getting that COVID shot, because let's face it, many of those people are in nursing homes because they have so many problems. It's difficult for their families to care for them. And if you got a lot of health problems and you give that to somebody elderly and they already got a compromised immune system, you may ultimately kill a lot of those elderly people. I sure wouldn't trust it. If I had family in a nursing home, I would not trust them getting that shot. But, unfortunately, we have a few people in this country making decisions for everybody. And we know they're not going to make decisions and have our best interests at heart at all. So, we just have to decide what you're going to do. I'm not taking the shot. And I would not encourage anybody to take a shot that was made within months. And they're making this claim that it's 100% effective, which I'm not buying at all. And I was looking at some of the ingredients they have in there. They're taking parts out of a shark, horseshoe crabs, and oh man, it's just like a gob of mess they mixed together and they made it into a vaccine. It's a mess. I don't know. How do you trust people, number one, that got a bad reputation with the Black community? This government does, with experimenting on us. And not only the government, but doctors experimented on us in universities. Black women were sterilized against their will. We know about the Tuskegee experiment. We know there's disparities in healthcare between white and Black people. White people definitely get better healthcare than Black people. And we're paying this astronomical amount of money for healthcare, and we're getting second rate service. So that being said, a lot of people do not trust this government, and certainly don't trust a lot of the medicine that they try to give us, because there's always some underlying BS behind it. If they want us to do something, you can best believe there is some underlying motive that they're not telling you. They don't do nothing for us out of the goodness of their hearts. Okay, we already know that. Because if they wanted to do something out of the goodness of their heart, we would have had reparations by now. And ladies and gentlemen, Moderna is coming up with a vaccine for children. And that's where it will get, I think that's where it will really get to Black parents. Because what they're going to try to do is tell you your kid can't be in school, where they ain't teaching them nothing anyway, unless they get the shot. That's what they're going to do. They're going to twist, they're going to pretty much back you up into a corner to get those shots to your kids. So they are working on that, and they're claiming that it'll be out in 2021. I tell you what, if I don't trust that vaccine for myself, I certainly will never trust it for children. They can go and give those shots to their own kids. That's what they need to do. Yeah. Yeah, they use all kinds of stuff. Even for your flu vaccine, they use eggs, you know. But yeah, I was looking, and horseshoe crab. Yeah. I am aware that, as a Hebrew, you're not supposed to touch any kind of shellfish. Shoot, for all we know, they'll probably put some pork in it. They'll have pork in the damn vaccine. Yeah, royalty, I don't blame your mother for not wanting that shot. And they want to give it to healthcare workers on the front line. And I was listening to the videos that some of those doctors and nurses put out, and many of them are like, I'm not taking that. They don't want it. Even they don't feel that this vaccine, they said it was way too rushed and it won't do anything but make a lot of people sick. And like I said, think about this. Many people don't get that flu vaccine because they have once taken it before in their life and they got sick. And you know how, especially our people, you give one of us a shot and we get sick, we ain't going back. That'll be the last time they will be injecting anything in our arms. You know how we are. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what's going to happen with COVID. They're going to give out this first shot. We've seen the side effects, headaches, fever. People said they felt like they were hungover. And some of the people couldn't even go back to work without, after getting the shot. So if people get that sick, you can best believe they're not going back for that second shot when it's required. If that first shot knocks them down, they ain't going back for that second shot. They're going to have a big problem. They're going to have a huge problem. Yeah, I saw Felisa. I did see that black man and his tongue was so swollen he couldn't even put it in his mouth. I mean, it's back to normal now, but they said that was a side effect of the COVID. And another thing I want to say, I want to raise this issue because we still got a lot of people running around and saying this is a hoax. And ladies and gentlemen, I think these hoax people are full of crap. And this is why. When you looked at Black Friday, and in fact, that weekend, Black Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it was hardly no one on the streets. Where were all the hoax people? If everything's a hoax, you should have been out there. You shouldn't have been bothered by COVID being out there. How come the hoax people weren't out there and the streets look damn near empty all over the country? I think some of y'all, and I'm not accusing my subscribers because I know where many of you stand, but some of y'all that are running around here screaming hoax, you are saying hoax online, and you know damn well you're keeping yourself away from people. Okay, you are. There's no way the street should have been that empty all over the country that whole weekend, but it was. So that tells me y'all ain't even going out there. And it's not human nature for you to hear about a disease or illness and then you brush it off. That ain't even human nature. That's always going to be in the back of your mind. If you say, okay, everybody in that room got the flu, are you going to walk in there? No, because human nature is going to tell you, I need to protect myself against getting the flu. So I'm not going in that room. That's human nature. It is not human nature for somebody to say everybody in that room got the flu and you walk in there talking about it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I'm going to walk in that room filled with people with the flu. That is not human nature. It is not human nature. You're going to protect yourself. And obviously, many of you hoax people, that's exactly what you're doing. That's why those streets were empty all over that whole weekend and people were hardly in the stores because you hoax people talk that bullshit, but you are keeping yourself out of the public too. So y'all ain't fooling nobody with that crap anymore. I observed that weekend and I watched closely and them streets were empty. So if it's a hoax, where the hell were you hoax people? How come you weren't out there having a good time? Okay, so don't come here with that hoax mess ever again. Because if those streets are empty, that means you hoax people didn't go out there either. So, ladies and gentlemen, just be prepared. If there are certain things you need, you make sure you get it. If you're able to do it, I know cash is tight for many people. We still got millions that are unemployed. And I saw a news story this past weekend. They're now saying 40 million people are at risk of being put out on the streets this coming January. So, that being said, a lot of people, money is tight, and it's rough because many of these folks are being put out and they got COVID. And you got to think about this. If you're going to take in your brother, sister, cousin, mother, or somebody because they got evicted, you are taking in somebody, and you got to think about this. You are taking somebody in that cannot financially support or give you money, probably can't even give you rent. So you are going to have to take that person in because that's your family and you love and care about them and you don't want them out there. But as far as them really, truly helping, if they got evicted, they can't really come in your household and help you. You're going to have to help them. So if you're in a position to do that, then yeah, that's your family. You do right by your family. But in some cases, there are a lot of people that already don't have anything, and to take somebody in that really don't have the finances to help out or give you rent or help buy groceries, that's hard. That's hard. And this country is not going to, we already see Congress and the Senate, they ain't going to step up for the people. We all know this by now. They are not going to step up for anybody out here in this society. I think they are only there for big businesses and billionaires and millionaires. They're not here for the average citizen out in public and the average citizen that are out here voting for them. You would think that since many of them got another term, they would be more than willing to push money out to the people that need it. But they're still playing games. They're still clowning around and acting like none of this stuff is even going on. People aren't being evicted. People aren't being foreclosed on. People don't have jobs. People can't find jobs. It's ridiculous the way they have treated the citizens in this country. It's unforgivable, in my opinion. We should not be, I don't glorify any of these politicians anyway. I have long been over politics and politicians. Politicians are full of crap. They just know how to talk a good game to get in office. And then when they get in office, they do absolutely nothing. Thank you, Salome Perry. As far as I'm concerned, they need to pack up and just go home. They seriously do. And they need to cut their salaries. Since you can't give nothing to the public, why should you have your full salary? All of their salaries need to be cut until the public gets something. Plain and simple. I mean, this is ridiculous. People's lives are on the line, and they're sitting there playing around like it don't matter. And then Trump sitting around whining about losing. To me, they need to get that out of the media. That's not even important. When you got COVID surging in the country, people are losing everything they own. And you got a nursing crisis, and you got all these shortages going on in the supermarkets and Walmart and places. All this stuff going on with Trump losing, to me, that's all irrelevant. They need to push all that mess out of the news. It needs to go. That is not important. Whether Trump is in or out of office, is that going to put food on your table? Is that going to feed your kids? That ain't going to do shit for nobody. They need to get that mess out of the news. He lost, get over the shit, get out of the White House and move on. too much focus on things that don't matter. Trump losing some damn election, that don't matter to any damn body. You got people by the hundreds of thousands in food lines around the country. Who cares what Trump lost? Are you kidding me? He didn't even take care of none of this stuff when he had the chance. And every time he's in the media, what is he talking about? It's a fraud. It's a fraud. Election fraud. Election fraud. It's a fraud. It's a fraud. Who the hell cares about that when the country is falling apart? And and I don't know what's wrong with this news media, even allowing him to be in the media with all that crap. They should have been cut Trump off. Everything that happened to him is his own doing. That's the way I see it. You did not take COVID seriously. Now, when did they say he heard about it? Like November, December, maybe even October. He heard about COVID and he didn't take it seriously. So you made the decision to blow it all off. And let's look at the stimulus. He didn't want to do the stimulus until after the election. You made that bad decision. So I think if he would have done the stimulus, even if he didn't take COVID seriously, if he would have done that stimulus and made sure everybody had money, Trump would have won the election. But I think between COVID and him not doing anything for the citizens that were hurting, that's what cost him the election. That was his own doing. I don't know why I would have to cry over that. You made bad decisions and it cost you the presidency. Now get over it and move on. Thank you, Loveline, for the super sticker. Yeah, this is really critical for us to be on top of our health. I was talking to my uncle in Florida and he said, they treat every day like they got COVID. So they make sure they got plenty of supplements around and, and the things that they need the most, they make sure they keep those things around, the teas, the supplements and anything that's going to help keep the immune system up. And I said, that's not a bad idea. But that's the direction we're going in. The Trump thing is just nothing but a bunch of selfish crap. That's all it is. It's just some selfish man that lost the election and he is selfishly thinking about himself. He wants to pardon himself. He wants to pardon his kids. He wants to pardon Giuliani. What the hell does that got to do with the whole country? So, I mean, let him stew in his selfishness, but we don't have to do that along with him. Loveline, thank you again for the super sticker. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, maybe if he would have did a better job and not do his job like he was still sitting on The Apprentice, he could have made a difference in the country. And I'm over the Trump thing. I'm serious. I don't even want to hear him talk about the election. How about getting on TV and saying, in my last days, I'm going to do everything I can for the American people. No, they cheated. They cheated. Oh, it's cheating. They shouldn't vote for Joe Biden. I should have got that state. Who the hell cares about that? If his supporters want to sit around and whine while all this shit is going on in the country, then y'all just go in the corner and whine. Leave the rest of us alone. And it just goes to show you the media in this country do not have their priorities straight at all. They don't even know how to prioritize things right. The election is over. Let it go. Yeah. I mean, look, if we keep going through more of these shortages, yeah, America is not going to recover from this. And unfortunately, these folks that are running America, if it's not a simple way of resolving it, they don't know what to do. And look, they're now saying COVID has been here for over a year. So now, if COVID's been here for over a year, you had all the time in the world to prep for this moment when the cold weather was coming. And it's like nothing got prepared. Nothing did. Thank you, Loveline, for the super sticker. They didn't prepare for anything. From March to now, you could have got plenty done. And if you would have set up some makeshift locations just for COVID patients, that would have generated jobs right there. You could have generated some jobs just doing these facilities and getting them ready just to put COVID patients. I tell you, nobody is thinking. They must be thinking out of their ass. They're not thinking at all. But hey, maybe this is within the Most High's will for it to be this way. But I tell you what, it is a sight to see America the way it was in 2019 and the way it is in 2020. What a hell of a difference. And you got a lot of these people that are cheerleading and carrying on for this virus vaccine. And you know what? You see what 2020 was like. 2021, I believe, is going to be worse than 2020. I really do. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot worse. Thank you, Dexter, for the super sticker. No, unfortunately, in order for things to get in order, like it run like it should, you're going to need a whole new set of people running things in this world. The people that we got running it, oh my goodness, what a disaster. You're going to have to clear them all out and get them out of the way, because they're not doing anything that's necessary for not only this country, but for this earth. It is, the Western nations are doing worse than everybody. But I thought these people were so educated and knew so much and invented this and invented that, and they created this and created that. Now you see they were full of crap, right? Yes, because there's no way you had that kind of brain power and everything is falling apart. Now, I was looking at Germany. Angela Merkel is now extending the lockdown over in Germany because it's so bad with the COVID in Germany. They're locking down until, I think, towards the end of January now. They were only going to lock down until December, and it's still so bad over there. They're going to push it all the way out to January now because too many are still sick in the country. And the same, and look at the way they locked down. They locked down, ladies and gentlemen, the same exact way they did it in March. And we know that didn't work. And so they're now locking down the same exact way the second time around. It's not going to work. It didn't work the first time. Yeah, I did see the UK. They're going to be starting their vaccines next week. I did see that. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Well, everybody, stay safe, stay prayed up, and we will get through this thing. One thing I can honestly say around me, when I see people walking around with masks on, I can tell you damn near probably well over 90% of the time, Black folk got that mask on. You hear me? Around here, they do. Thank you, Loveline, for the super sticker. They have it on. They don't mess around. The ones that don't have it on are the usual ones that we see all the time. And y'all know who I mean. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. I do appreciate every time I spend with you, and we'll definitely do this again and keep up with everything that's happening, minus Donald Trump and his whining. So, everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. Peace, family.